For 3 or 4 days, I hurt so bad. I want to cry thinking about it because it just reminds me of the fear I felt.
I guess I really don't know what Christmas is all about. Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
Hey, yo, hey, stop.
Jack Frost nipping at your nose. So I'm offering this simple phrase. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Went to the bathroom, and this may be way TMI. So again, if you're sensitive, if this is gonna trigger anything for if you've experienced loss, please stop watching the video. About 2 hours later, I got up, I went to the bathroom again, was checking to see if I was having an immense amount of bleeding. Again, I'm still paranoid in my brain about an ectopic pregnancy, so I know the signs to look for. I'm looking for those signs, and I passed something that has been since diagnosed as a decidual cast. I immediately went into panic mode. I called my mother. What do? I need to get into the emergency room. Something's going on. With COVID and with me only being days away from my doctor's appointment, my mom, some friends of mine, thank you guys, calmed me down and said, let's just wait till you get your doctor's appointment and see what's happening. We got on Google. Donnie had got on Google. He found the decidual cast and was like, babe, this is like very close to what that looked like. I don't think you had a miscarriage. I think it was this. Decidual casts are caused by the Depo shot. One of the markers for if you had a decidual cast or if you're having something more intense, which decidual casts can also be caused by ectopic pregnancies. So let me say, again, I'm really freaked out because I'm going great. So this could either be an ectopic pregnancy or the shot. And if the shot can cause ectopic pregnancy, you know, and I already have a past of it, oh my gosh, the fears were just rampant. Well, one of the markers for knowing if it's a decidual cast is you might have some slight kidney pain, back pain, intense labor type pains, and then once it passes, all the bleeding stops, all the pain goes away immediately, and you're fine. And that's exactly what happened to me. Except for I wasn't entirely done bleeding. I still had I would call a watery kind of bloody discharge, which reminded me very much of my ectopic. So I panicked for a few days. Panicked, prayed, and that led us to the footage you just saw of us going to the doctor on Wednesday. So, what happened to me? Did I have an ectopic pregnancy or decidual cast? It was not an ectopic pregnancy, thank God. They did not do any imaging results, which does make me a tad bit nervous, but he comforted me with this. You never had a positive test. It's impossible that it was ectopic. With me having just got on the shot, it's more probable that it was the shot. I would still notice that I would have a little bit of spotting, but not consecutively, but no more pain. And so that was something else he told me. If there was anything to worry about, any of it being stuck in there or it being caused from something else, then you would still have bleeding, you'd have a fever, you'd be vomiting, there possibly be pain in the upper shoulders, it's a stabbing pain in your upper shoulders, upper right quadrant pain in your stomach, pouring blood that doesn't stop. So apparently you have a lot of irregular bleeding with the shot, but if you're consecutively for more than 7 days not on your period cycle, pouring blood, that's get into the emergency room. So, but I didn't have any of that. So that's how they knew, no, you're fine. As far as that's concerned, it was just from the decidual cast. We had some other things that he wants to look into. We did talk about future babies. So you'll have to stay tuned for that and what the doctor told me about that. But I just wanted to touch on in this video, yes, the medical side of what is a decidual cast and how freaky when you're not expecting that can be. I mean, when you're using birth control, it's to keep you from getting pregnant. So when you pass something that looks like the shape of your uterus or the shape of a fallopian tube, you know, you start going, oh my gosh, am I having a miscarriage or what is it? And like I said, I had a little something weird come out before. I was weak. I was exhausted. I was having pelvic pain. I was having vaginal pain. I mean, it was just, my kidney was hurting, all of that. I did find out, on top of everything else, that I did have a pretty intense urinary tract infection. So that's where my kidney pain and vaginal pain and pelvic pain was coming from. Completely unrelated. It could be a reaction to the Depo shot. I've gotten online since having gotten that shot and found a lot of things, health issues it can cause. It can cause breast cancer. It can cause uterine cancer. There's a lot of downfalls to this particular form of birth control. It has been used in chemical castration for men to completely take their sexual desire away. Men who are sex offenders. So it's a heavy duty, potent shot. And I just wasn't fully aware of what I was getting into. That being said, medically to our knowledge thus far, it has not harmed me in any way. But mentally, it took something again from me and provoked something in me. It reinstated a fear. I mean, there's nothing like chemicals convincing you're pregnant. And then the same chemicals convincing you that you're losing the baby. So my mind just went through, and the last month has went through such a roller coaster, you know, an up and down. So is the Depo shot for everyone? No, it's not. If you are looking for a birth control that is temporary, I would highly advise against it. Again, I'm not a medical professional. You talk to your doctor, you evaluate what's best for you. If you're a person who just wants, for safety reasons or for a time being or because of a transition in your life, a temporary birth control, a low dose oral contraceptive will work just fine. I do know for those of you who have even the slightest sliver of hope or desire or passion for children, I would highly advise against ever getting this shot. It causes blood clots. It causes problems to the uterus, things that can be completely irreversible. And so while you're trying to do a very mature thing, and in my case specifically, because of my past health history, I thought I was doing a very mature thing. It ended up causing so much fear, and there's so much uncertainty. So he told me, my doctor did, the entire time I'm on the shot, until the entire thing is out of my system, everything is free game. I can bleed, I can have stabbing pains, everything but a fever, the pain in my shoulders, upper right quadrant, is free game. That means every single time I start spotting or bleeding, I'm going to wonder, is this a miscarriage? Is this this? Is this this? Is this past history repeating? You know, and so it's just the mind warp that it does to you. To me, if you're iffy about having a baby, you just don't want to do that to your mind. Even if you're 100% convinced you don't want another baby, but you also don't want any extra health issues than what you've already been through, I just don't advise getting this shot. So because of that, he has instructed me to get off of it. Now, mind you guys, I did not get the shot from him. I went to a local health department, did this on my own. Whereas if I had done a consultation with him like I should have done, he would have advised against it from the beginning because of my past medical history. He said, you already only work at 50%. There was no need to do something that drastic. But now I'm having to kind of live with the consequences of it. Spiritually, and I don't want to get on a debate on how God feels about birth control. That's not what this video is about. But for me, spiritually, I believe fear is what led me to get that shot. And now I'm paying the consequences for that. The consequences being I will be tormented by said fear until this thing is completely out of my body. Now, there are organic, natural things you can do to help speed the process up. I only had one shot, praise God. So, before anyone freaks out, what are you going to do about birth control? I'm going to do what I've always done. I've never once had a baby as a surprise, okay? Now, for those of you who know the story of Lincoln and his conception, you know what I mean by that. I know exactly how to plan around my cycles and do the things I need to do naturally and organically to keep from getting pregnant. It's a pretty basic science. For those of you who don't know, go ask your mom and dad. But that being said, I'm just going to go back to what I was doing because what I was doing worked, and I'm not as in such a dramatic situation now where I absolutely cannot get pregnant at this moment. No, we are not trying to get pregnant at this moment, but I'm also not in such a panic mode of I don't want to get pregnant. So anyways, that's my story. I hope it wasn't just a ramble. That's my experience. It has been emotionally exhausting and has been mentally exhausting and has brought up some spiritual things I thought I had dealt with and worked through. So all things happen for a reason. I'm glad in a way because God is bringing these things to the surface that I haven't dealt with yet. Areas I need to trust him better in. But before going in to my next couple videos of my testimony of being an AFLP survivor and my testimony of I died twice and I'm here to talk about it. Before telling those two stories, I kind of just wanted to give the current story of what I'm going through right now. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the fun footage of that day. It was a very positive day for us. We got great news in the sense of I am healthy, little urinary tract infection. We got to clear that up and I will be just fine. It was a mental exhaustion. It was a physical exhaustion. It was painful. And so, yeah, I'm just glad to be back on my feet. I'm glad to be around my kids, and I'm glad to know that possibly with this video I can help somebody. If you are on the Depo shots and you have passed something and you don't know what it is, Google decidual cast, DECIDUAL CAST, decidual cast, and carefully read and examine the symptoms, and more than likely that's probably what you're going through. If it is an ectopic pregnancy, you're going to have fever, you're going to have nausea and vomiting to an extreme. I was a little nauseous right after I passed the thing, but you will know if it's that kind of nausea. And you're going to have an intense radiating, if you've ever had surgery, a laparoscopic surgery with gas inserted, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to have an intense sharp pain at the tip of your shoulder, one of your shoulders, if you're having an ectopic pregnancy. You're also going to get positive tests, negative tests, positive tests, negative tests. If you are experiencing any of those things, I urge you, please listen to me. Go to your doctor immediately. If you cannot get into your doctor immediately, go to an emergency room. I know these are scary times with COVID, but I promise you what I went through with my ectopic pregnancy is a million times scarier than what you will go through dealing with some COVID regulations, okay? If you are experiencing any of the symptoms I said, pain upper right quadrant, a pop in your stomach, and then the sharp pains in your shoulder, vomiting, nausea, fevers, chills, dizziness, you feel an intense constipation feeling, any of those things are going on, and you have passed anything abnormal, please get into an emergency room. If your doctor won't listen to you, don't stop until somebody does. Because that's what happened to me, and that's what I thought was happening to me again recently, and I'm thankful to God that that's not what was happening, but I feel this urgency in me to do whatever I can to save anybody from going through what I went through. So anyway, those are my 2 cents. Is the Depo shot good? In my opinion, for myself, no. Am I on that form of birth control anymore, and will I ever be again? No. Has it caused permanent damage? We don't know yet. Can we have more children? Let's take all my past out of the way, and just because of this shot, if you get on the shot, we'll be able to have more children. There's no way to know. You are taking a risk when you get the shot to never be able to have a child again. And to increase your risk of cancers and other problems. So it can exacerbate symptoms of what you're already feeling. So just really do your research. Just really do your homework. Thanks for listening to me ramble about all this. I love you guys. Hope you have a great night. Bye.